Hello, and welcome back to the Arcarius podcast, where I, your host Evan, and my co-host over here,
Hi, I'm Tristan, your co-host.
will be telling you about the great game of Warhammer 40k. Now today, this is something every person talking about 40k talks about. Factions, because there's so many and it hurts to write.
It's so hard to choose sometimes, especially choosing your first army. Even for myself, I took weeks to decide on what army I actually want to choose. And not just army, but the faction within the army. I'm happy with Dark Angel.
All right, so just a little. We're gonna go over what we're gonna talk about today. We're gonna talk about almost every faction, if not every faction.
We're probably gonna skip a few.
We're gonna skip a few, and we're talking more about the exact. So in the CSM book, there is a bunch of different factions condensed into different detachments. I'm not going over every single detachment. We're gonna do a little quick. Oh, CSM has these Space Marine groups. I'm not going over the cults one or whatever. We're going to go over like Night Lords, that kind of thing, and just a quick thing for each of them.
We're just going to browse over it real quick. Just give you a general idea of what each faction does.
Because they are part of CSM. We will be talking about them, but that we are talking about generally CSM, the World Eaters, Death Guard, Thousand Suns,
Imperial
Emperor's
Guard.
Children,
Imperial Guard.
Imperial Guard,
Ow. Sorry. Ow. Oh, no one's going to hate me for that. I wonder if he's going to edit out that silence.
No, that's terrible. No, not ow. Damn you.
Space communism.
So, Tristan, as a punishment, do you want to go first?
Sure. I'm going to talk about my guys. I'm going to talk about the general, the Space Marines. Well, when you think of Space Marines, everyone always thinks of the Ultramarines. Ultramarines are your poster boys of 40k. We're talking big armor, big guns, blue guys. Space Marines are just cybernetically enhanced soldiers. And when it comes to gameplay, it's just that. Big guys, bigger guns. They got something called bolters, and bolters are just... They shoot a thing the size of your finger, which is just insane to me.
I thought it was a Red Bull can.
Oh, it's a Red Bull. No, it's a self-propelled rocket.
Oh,
like
right.
a miniature self-propelled rocket that explodes.
Yes. So, deal with Space Marines is they have they have better infantry than almost everyone.
Forge World won't count because that's resin. I don't deal with resin. I deal with plastic. But when it comes to Space Marines, because they are also this poster boy, you have the largest range of units in any faction for 40k. We're talking anything specialized, they're probably in Space Marines.
Type of light infantry and natural enemies.
Light infantry, heavy infantry, special. You want anything with a flamer, you got several choices for that. Like there's so many options to choose from. It's just mind-boggling.
Yes, it's terrible how many there are. So, we've got the general Space Marines out of the way. They have some pretty good tanks and armor and heavy shooting things. They got some pretty good infantry. They don't have anything on the uber high end of the spectrum. They don't have a knight, or they don't have a titan or something like that. Most factions don't have titans, but they don't have a knight equivalent. They have a couple really good tanks, but that's about it.
Yeah. So, would you like to talk about your special Space Boys?
No, because that's not Space Marines. But I will start going over the factions that I have any kind of knowledge about. Starting with you know what, actually? Let's start with the Grey Knights. The Grey Knights. Your psychic, I think so hard you explode now kind of Space Marines. They are the secretive group. They were meant to combat demons, and if an imperial citizen knows about them,
Death.
They die. Their faction focus on the battlefield is teleporting shenanigans. They took away kind of the psychic. In 10th edition, they made psychic all about, I cast gun. So it's not they're not like the Thousand Suns where they have the rituals to cast spells and all that. No, their main thing is teleporting. And They do a lot of teleporting. My favorite model in them.
The baby carrier.
The baby carrier. It is freaking hilarious. They put a little Terminator in this baby carrier mech, and it's freaking hilarious.
I love it. It's beautiful. Also, same thing with them. They also have the ability to put on just any Space Marine. Well, any Space Marine unit generally.
No, not
No?
Grey Knights.
Oh, sorry,
Grey Knights
not
are a
Grey
little
Knights.
different.
They're special.
They can take rhinos and land raiders and that kind of thing. Like all Space Marines have rhinos and land raiders. But I don't think they can like bring in assault intercessors or anything. They're a little different in that regard. They're closer to custodians than they are to
They have
Space
a
Marines.
few special units that they can bring for themselves.
Yeah. Okay, do you want to go on to one of your chapters?
Ooh, I'm gonna go into Dark Angels. So with the Dark Angels, they have a Primarch that's alive.
We're gonna clown on all the ones that don't. We're looking at you, Blood
absolutely.
Angels.
But because they have a living Primarch, you can actually bring him for battles. The Lion, is he good to bring for battles? A little high costed right
What is
now.
he, like 400 points?
Crazy.
He's ridiculous. He's not like a knight's almost 500 points. He's under a knight, but he can't do. And he's not like Gilliman of the Ultramarines, who also is alive, where he's more of a buffer.
Yeah.
This guy is more just pure
I
melee.
just exist.
I exist. It is now your problem.
But when it comes to Dark Angels, their lore is that they failed. And so they're just kind of like sworn to being, oh, I have to be edgy now.
That's one way to describe it. I'll give it that. I'll give it that.
It is a way to say it, essentially. But in terms of their units and gameplay, they do have a lot of their own specialized units. But because they are kind of a standard Space Marine unit, being the first regiment, being the first unit, they can bring on most Space Marine units, and they have special Terminators.
First regiment didn't.
First
So
Legion.
the Space Marine legions are numbered 1 to 20. What he was trying to say is they're the first legion. They're legion number 1, and they take pride in that. They make sure you know that.
They are number 1. In my heart, they are always number 1.
We are number 1. Hey.
But they do also have funny bikes.
Also,
The funny bikes on those things.
talking about bikes here, we're going to move on to the White Scars. Because the White Scars want what they have, but they also want what the Custodians have. They want those special bikes.
White Scars are just speed demons. Think if you got a Hellcat and you slapped a supercharger and then a turbocharger and then, yeah, basically.
You make it the fastest thing imaginable. They love it. They are fast bikes, ATVs, all that fun stuff. If it's on wheels and it goes faster than a tank, they're happy.
If you could give a White Scar a drag car, like a modern drag car, they would like gift you so many things for it.
They are their prime anchor is Jagadai Khan, who is alive, but he is off fighting the Drukhari and all that stuff in the webway. He's not in 40k right now. He's alive, but he's just not playable. With their battle tactics, think they're meant to be based off of like Jagadai Khan and that kind of thing of like horse tactics, except instead of horses, think bikes and bikes outside of Dark Angel. A lot of bikes.
It's just, wow, I have a bike and a sword.
Mounted. Now you go. So
Ooh.
move on because there's not much to say about successor chapters. To be
Fair.
honest.
Okay, let's talk about the Space Viking furries. Space wolves.
They are furries to the
They are
last.
furries. Look, their Primarch, he's alive, I think. I hope. Somewhere. He's just sleepy in the cave, just like the lion.
No, I don't think he's sleepy. I think he just went out for milk and never came back.
Will he come back? Maybe.
Who knows?
Maybe.
People are saying
if GW thinks he should come back, maybe.
Primarch to come back. I call BS because I hate Space Wolves. I
Look,
really dislike them.
The only thing, really, if you think Space Wolves is right for you, if you're from Finland and you're a furry,
No, we're not attacking the Finnish. Tristan, we're not going after the Finnish. They did nothing wrong to us. Okay, so the next faction is the Salamanders. We're not going after the Finnish. Think, Salamanders. War crimes with fire. They are flamethrowers incarnate. They love fire. Their Primarch is Vulcan, who has died multiple times and just comes back. And I don't remember what his lore is and where the hell he is, but he's gone. Supposedly when the Salamanders bring all the artifacts of Vulcan together, he'll return, or when they find them all. But that's a near impossible task. Vulcan is gone. That's the end of the story. And they like flamethrowers.
But fire. The one thing about salamanders, though, is that they are in what people like to call the good guys in terms of Space Marines.
Oh, yeah.
They lore-wise, it's if you are on a planet that's getting raided by anything, you want those guys to be there. Unless you're in the fire. That's on. That is a you issue.
Salamanders care about human casualties. They'll make sure it doesn't happen.
They'll try to minimize it.
They use the weapons best for human casualties, and they will. It's funny.
And so, oh, you want to burn? You will burn.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah.
Okay, next one.
I don't have one, but
you don't have another one?
No. Blood Angels.
Oh, haha! Your primer dead. Suck it. Anyways, no, they're a melee-based one. They have a bunch of jump pack stuff.
The rage. I miss the rage.
God, no, stop. Their main thing is their Primarch died fighting Horus Lupercal, which was the leader of the Chaos in 30k. And because of that, a bunch of his sons have turned into these, what they call Death Company. They see visions of Horus killing the Primarch. And so if you ever hear a Blood Angel yell, Horus, you're most likely going to die. Because they will get flashes of Horus and they will go into a blind rage and kill everything. They also have something called the Sanguinary Guards, which are, as a Custodes player, knockoff Custodes. Next is the Raven Guard.
But what about Imperial Fists? You want to die on that hill? Imperial Guard will make sure that hill is still standing at the end of the Imperial Fists.
So I'm a very Iron Warriors coded in the Iron Warriors versus Imperial. I hate the Imperial Fist too. I hate a lot of the Loyalist Legions.
Yes, because you're a Xenos player.
And Chaos. Don't forget Chaos.
I'm very Imperial based, so that's where I stand. But when it comes to Imperial Fists, these guys are the ones that you want to hold your bastion. You got a fort to hold down, they're the one that got you.
They fortify everything, and they're very good at it.
The one thing about Iron Fist is that they just love Imperial Fist. They have Centurions.
They don't have them. They're just pretty good with them. Their main unit, I don't know if it's in 30k, but their main unit was basically they have a bolter in one hand and then they have a shield in another. That's kind of just, we're fortified, shield down, bolter, bam, bam, bam. Next is Raven Guard. They're emo.
Next, Iron Hands. Primarch dead. Womp womp.
Womp womp. Guess who lost his head in an argument?
Oh man, that sucks to be you. But Iron Hands is just AdMech, but Space Marine, right? Just cyborg, more augmented. They're super soldiers, and then they're like, yes, this weak, no more. Make me a robot.
Sounds about right. They're very vehicle coded. They love their
they
dreadnoughts.
love their vehicles. They love dreadnoughts, their tanks. Like if you want to build a proper Iron Hands unit, you need at least 2 dreadnoughts.
Yeah,
it will not work without it, and a tank.
Yeah, 2 dreadnoughts, tank. That sounds good. Going back to the Raven Guard real quick because I feel bad about just calling it emo. Moving on. They're very sneaky. They're very stealthy. They're just, oh, you didn't see us. We're gonna sneak up and kill you. They have they made the lightning claws. And they're just, they're emo but stealthy. Next, do you have any? Oh, yeah, you have. I'm going to do Custodes first.
The Golden Boys.
The Golden Boys. Eat your hearts out, Blood Angels, because you'll never be on our level. I don't like how they're gold, and we're supposed to be gold. We are the Golden Boys. We're hyper elite. We're the most elite thing other than...
Hyper elite.
We're the most elite thing other than Knights. We're very hard to kill, and we hit hard in melee, and our guns are just generally good. They're not great, but they're generally
Oh, you might be wondering to yourself, how hard do they hit?
They hit
4
hard.
guys will kill a tank. We've tried this.
Yeah, no.
They have killed a tank.
I think a unit of 5 of my guys killed a unit of 10 normal Terminators. They're kind of nuts.
And then they like completely survived, took no wounds. And
they lost 1 guy.
Oh, they lost a guy. Okay, my apologies.
No, they lost 2, sorry. But they have a lot of their things are in resin. That's the unfortunate part. Half their range is in resin, their tanks are in resin, their dreadnoughts are in resin. It's not great. They also have this rule called Martial Kata, which is you get to choose if you do more attacks or more or auto wounds on kind of it's how they play. They are melee focused.
They are the definition of the elite trooper. Like it is lore wise anyways, to become a custodian, it is extremely hard. You have to be the best of like out of everything.
Right. Okay. We go. Oh yeah, you still got to continue with Imperium.
Imperium. When you think of the Imperium, everyone thinks Space Marines. But what about us puny humans? That's where we get to the Imperial Guard. Lore-wise, these guys are just numbered. Just anything in a hive city, just take the people and just throw it at the problem. It's like World War II Russia. It's not quantity. It's not quality. It's quantity. The average, like lore term anyways, the average life expectancy is 24 hours, less than 24 hours on the battlefield.
Yeah, you will
will die.
And you get put on a battlefield, 24 hours, you're done. That's the average.
When it comes to gameplay wise, you have three main choices. You have heavy infantry and heavy tanks, and then you have a mix of both. But
if you really want to piss someone off, go heavy tank, because their tanks are... The Rogel Dorn does not deserve to be as tanky as it is and still hit as hard.
The Rogel Dorn hits harder than like Shaquille O'Neal if you're trying to fight him, right?
No. You take someone Shaquille O'Neal's size and make it Mike Tyson punching you.
Yeah, like it just isn't fair.
It isn't.
And then it's like, you want to buff it? Yes, you have a Bane Blade. A Bane Blade, which is the equivalent of a Knight, right? That thing, like... It's just stupid of how big it is and how strong it is. But if you can kill it, that's a lot of points.
I think it's just a rectangular tank. That's all it is.
And also, why is like the Lehman Russ tank design just, oh, yes, let's put a Mark IV, Mark V, and just slap a turn on it.
You want to move on to the next one?
Yeah, after you. Oh, I have AdMech. AdMech. Think... AdMech is human slaves turned into cyborgs, turned into religious fanatics. That's essentially what they are, just religious cyborg fanatics.
Oh, also wanting to do intimate things with a toaster.
They love their technology, their vehicles, anything that they can get their hands on, they will. Right? Like, you want a tank, they can feel the spirit of a tank. And that's why when I say the toaster, they will love a toaster if they could. I think let's get into a bit of
No, don't you have sisters? Okay, sisters! Let's do nuns with guns. I don't remember their rules, I'll be honest. Something with miracle dice and... Yeah, that's about as much as I remember.
Religious fanatics, but females and not cyborgs.
Nuns with guns.
Guns.
I believe their army rule is...
If you weaponize the Pope and the religious...
No, that's exactly what it is. You weaponize
the Pope and it was a female. They're sisters.
Yeah, so their thing is these dice, and I believe you just get to roll these dice at the beginning of the game or beginning of a round and just substitute them in. They're kind of like the Eldar in that way.
Oh, they have a tank and basically a church on top of it too.
Yeah, they're very religious.
That's my one favorite thing.
Okay, are we moving on to Chaos? Or are we moving on? Okay, Chaos. Or are we doing Chaos or are we doing Xenos?
Let's do Xenos because I got Tau.
Xenos. All right.
Ooh,
actually, you have less. I'll go first. Sorry. Orcs, the green fungi.
Oh gosh,
they are so much fun in my opinion because they can be both shooty and they can be fighty. They're very just, oh yeah.
The one thing about orcs is if they believe it will work, it will.
If they believe something, if they believe in something hard enough, it will happen. They believe that red makes something go faster. So if you paint red on something, it will go faster.
Purple makes things disappear. That's why you've never seen a purple orc before, have you? You haven't. Exactly. That's why I can show up to an army, to a game with 2,000 points of purple orcs, and he won't believe me. I have one right here. Do you see it? That's my point exactly.
They're fun. They're some of the best models in the game. They just have a couple old models, but that doesn't matter. Their main army rule is the Wa. So generally, for you activate the Wa, and for one turn, you guys are supercharged. Depending on which Wa it is, you'll go faster, hit harder, fight more, whatever. You'll do whatever you do better for that turn, and that's generally how they are. Next, the Aldari, or as we call it, the Eldar pointy ears.
But think, what about the ships?
Sorry.
My
Eldar.
apologies.
So they're the space high elves, the space pointy ears. Oh yeah, so much better than
do they sit in trees and have bows?
what else? These
Close
are
enough.
These are the high elves. They're fast, they hit hard, and they're quite squishy, but they do have a lot of versatility to them. They have these things called fate dice, where you roll a bunch of dice at the start of the game and re-roll it depending on what you like and whatever. You get to put those dice aside, and whenever you make like a charge roll and it's low, you can replace those dice with the ones you rolled at the beginning of the game and then discard those. It's just, oh, we don't like what we did? Let's change it real quick. I didn't make that charge? No, I think I did. They're very like that. They got a lot of different things. They got their special warriors, which are their sneaky ones. There's the Howling Banshees, which are fast melee. You got the gun ones. It's all a lot of fun. Now we'll get on to the dark, edgy. They will cut them. Well, no, I can't say that.
The emo knives, the emo elves.
The dark elves, the Drukari, the.
I still see your shadow in my room.
No, they're not that bad. They're not as bad as the Raven Guard. But basically, they're very transport heavily. They're very pirate based.
They got them ships.
Yes, they're
Don't touch my boats.
very transport heavy. They are true glass cannons. They cannot take very much damage. They're very frail, but if they get into melee or get what they want to do, they will punch hard. It will do a lot of damage.
I can confirm. I killed a boat with melta guns.
Yes, they are squishy, but also that unit died in one turn to.
That was a group of 3.
No, your group of 3 died to my group of 5, and your group of 3 really should have survived that. Their main rule is pain tokens, which after killing a unit and at the start of each round, I believe it is. Yeah, sorry. After killing a unit, you get these things called pain tokens. Pain tokens can be used to make shooting and fighting rerolls, as well as charge and movement. And so they're just helps to substitute in for some of their bad rolls.
Now, on to basically the mech suit loving
Space commies. The Tau. Because he will pronounce it Tau. And jail. Continue on
you
with
can
your
fight
commies.
me. I'll throw hands right now. But Tau is known for having mech suits and absolutely no melee. You trying to fight Tau in melee, it just sounds like this.
Yeah, it is fighting as Tau. If you try and fight in melee, it's like trying to drive a mini car head on into a semi truck.
I feel like it's more of a smart car fighting a freight train, except the smart car is on the tracks of a freight train. The freight train's already going like 80 miles an hour.
Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah, so it's like, it's not gonna.
They did get recruit models recently. Well, not very recently, but recently.
They have something that can go into melee, but
they should actually. No, they're meant for melee. So like the Crew Rocks Riders will screw in melee. They are very strong in melee.
But they don't match the mech suit aesthetic, so I know people won't be buying them.
No, actually, a lot of people love them.
Oh, okay.
There's like a sub faction for them and all that, but it's like.
But the mech suit,
it's good to supplement in, but it's not amazing.
But when it comes to Tau, they just have mech suits, big guns. They love doing their things at range. Gameplay wise, you need to learn how to actually, stay away and position your units.
Yep.
If you can't, they die. If anything gets close and they get into melee, that unit does not exist anymore. Just pretend like it never did.
Their main gameplay focus is shoot or we die, and just anything that enters our field of range, shoot it off the board. That's the entire doctrine.
I just love their giant ship. That's like my favorite.
You mean the Titan one?
Yes.
Oh god, yeah, I love that because you can play games of Kill Team on it.
Oh, that's so funny.
So on to the next one, Necrons. You got the funny Bone Boys, the Metal Bone Boys. I'll be honest, I own these guys. I don't play them ever because I just do not
I thought
care.
you sold them.
No, I sold my Tau.
Ah, you had Tau?
Yeah. I had like...
You commie.
I had 1,200 points of Tau. Leave me alone.
You commie. Yeah.
Shut up. You would have asked me to sell them to you.
Well, I would ask you to share them with me because space communism.
Necrons, Bone Boys, very heavy use on leaders. They have Catan, they have vehicles, they have their general infantry comes back after they've died. I'll be honest, I don't remember a huge amount because they're not my favorite thing to play.
They have a floating pyramid.
They have pyramids. They're very Egyptian coded. They're very move forward slowly and just like unending, unyielding thing of death.
Well, the one thing about Necrons is that what they're based on is that they're an ancient race that decided that their flesh was too weak, which is basically what happened.
They got tricked because they're like...
Oh, they got tricked.
They had super cancer. They went to the Catan. They said, oh, we got a solution for you. Just turn into metal. But their souls got stolen.
Yeah, so they're just soulless metal beings.
Yeah,
which is basically what Admech kind of wants to be.
Yeah. Yeah. If you tell an Admech they can be a Necron, they'll get nice.
Just as long as they tell them that they'll still believe in the god, they will.
Yeah, no, the Admech want to study them completely.
Oh yeah.
I'll be honest, I don't remember a lot of the rules. I apologize, Necron players. You guys are angels. You're great. I just don't play them.
They're just not what they used to be, man.
No, they did not. Nids, Tyranids.
If you play Helldivers,
and ever want to play the bugs, this is who you play. The Nids. They're the bugs in space. They like to eat everything, and
just the horde of Tyranids is just playing Tyranids is like also playing like guards sometimes because it's just hordes of models and models. It's just yeah.
It's just models and models. So they're very versatile. They can be very horde-based, where you just have hundreds of models, or they can be very elite, where you only have like 8 monsters. They can be very versatile. They got a large range of different monsters that fill every single role. Their main role is synapse, so if you stay in range of the leader bugs / brain bugs, you'll get benefits, and they're just all around a good faction.
Oh yeah.
We'll go on to the... do you have anything else for Xenos?
No, but we do have Gene Stealers coming up.
Oh, yeah.
The literal idea of guard but worst.
Guard but tyrannidified. They're the little brothers to that, and they're very good at hit-run tactics. I've never played them, never played against them. He's never played them, he's never played against them.
I've refused to pick up a box of them.
Yeah,
I will not touch them.
Should we tell them how, what it's like buying Gene Stealers?
Oh, sure.
Hello, Bank. This is Nevin from the Arcarius podcast. I'd like to start a new army. Oh, what faction, you say? Oh, I'd like to start Gene Stealer cults. Oh, I'd have to take out another mortgage on my house just to get the first 1,000 points? Sounds good. So yeah, very unfun to buy. They're very horde based. There's lots of models that are going to be on the board. None of them are going to be great, except for like the transports and the heavier things. But
you want a horde? Imperial Guard, half your army can be 180 models of infantry.
Yeah, and this one, it kind of has to be your entire army that's 180 models. They don't have a lot of big stuff. They have some jackals, which are the bikers, but they're pretty...
They have that cool... What is that?
Mining equipment, basically.
Yeah, the mining equipment.
They're very hit and run. They're on bikes. They're using rebarb with concrete on it as hammers.
It is really junkyard scrap. I put this together, and you go fight now.
This is very militia, like we're rebelling base, because that's exactly what they're doing. They're rebelling against the Imperium. And then they get eaten. And then the joke's on them because they no longer live.
But they bleed out. And you know what blood leads to?
I'm denying this transition because I didn't think about it. No. You do not get to have this one over on me. That was good, though.
But.
CSM. So this is just general Space Marines. There are 4 other groups of Space Marines that have their own, that will have all their own codexes.
The special ones.
Yes, these are the general ones that are with the Chaos Gods / not with them, but
They
haven't
just
chosen
exist.
a patron. Whereas the other ones are dedicated to one of the 4 patron gods.
Corn.
So, starting off with my personal favorite of the CSM, Night Lords. We frickin' suck. We suck in game because our
RIP.
rules are based off of Battle Shock, and Battle Shock doesn't really matter.
It's just wow. Oh, I can't control this objective. How sad. I still have sticky though, so I still own it.
Except they actually kind of make it scary, but it's just not enough. Night Lords very fear tactics. We jumped in, skinned the leaders alive, and went from there. Iron Warriors, very shooty, they're basically opposite of Imperial Fist. They're good at sieging things.
It's you have a nice base. I'm going to destroy it now.
Yeah, in game they're very shooty and very kind of tank / chaotic monstrosity focused. And we're not talking like full on demons. We're talking demon engines. Like Alpha Legion, we're gonna infiltrate you. You won't know what we did. We're gonna infiltrate you, steal some information, get out. They're not sneaky where they sneak in, they kill something. No, they're very we disguise.
We're just getting the information.
CIA tactics.
You mean FBI tactics?
No, FBI is more forward. CIA is word bearers. We
I
love
will
demons.
spread my religion.
We will spread our legs for demons.
Missionaries, but evil.
It brings a whole new meaning to missionary.
The missionary with double the meaning.
Missionaries, both in position and in religious fervor. The Black Legion. They are Horus's old legion and now run by Ezekiel Abaddon. They are they are pretty Terminator and just, we're going to hit the people in the front and just precision strike, get out. That's kind of all they are. Red Corsairs, they're led by Huron Blackheart. They're new detachments and they're very hit and run based. So they all have assaults on their melee weapons for infantry. So you get to run forward, shoot, and advance, or run forward, advance, shoot, all that kind of fun stuff. All right,
Melee.
so let's move on to demons.
Oh gosh, there's so many.
There is so many models. Almost all of them are named. They're a very fun faction because you mix all the demons from all 4 Chaos Gods.
You get to choose the funny things that you with them. I want something that defines me. I want something big, round, and fat. They have a demon for that.
They have the unclean one, fat. They also have the Keeper of Secrets, which is whatever the hell you want. They're demons. You can choose to be mono god, so only go with Slanesh or Nurgle, or you can choose to mix and match, like Khorne and Slanesh, Khorne and Nurgle, or do all 4 of them at once. All works.
Would that even count as a valid 2,000 point?
Yeah, that's the entirety of Chaos Demons. Is you mix and match. You're supposed to it's supposed to be chaos undivided. Realistically,
would that be under? Never mind. Damn.
Their main rule, they can be very fun. The main rule is Shadow of Chaos, so part of the board, so the starting zone, mid boards, all that fun stuff could be under the Shadow of Chaos. This just gives buffs to your guys and debuffs for Battle Shock. It's not a.
It is what it is. I mean, it could be a lot worse.
Yes, it could be. Do you want to talk about both the Knights? Because I think we missed Imperial Knights.
Ooh, I did miss Imperial Knights. So, Imperial Knights, these big chunking things, it is the definition of America go big or go home kind of thing, right? You want guns, you want firepower, you go with the Knights. Infantry, none. Yeah. You want to control that objective, you got to slap that giant knight on there, which is a literal quarter of your army, or even half, right? We're talking like even the smaller knights, like they're still pretty good, but they're not infantry. Like you want the firepower, it's there.
They're the most elite thing in the game for Imperial Knights. For CSM, They have a couple different rules. We're not going to get into the difference, but
They
basically,
just, it's kind of sad.
it's the chaos version of them, and they don't really have the rules to support big knights and armiger and the smaller knights.
They're just
which
not
are
as
armigers.
loved.
They have the problem with chaos knights is their best army right now is a bunch of small knights and then Abaddon. It's kind of sad, and I don't like to think about it. But we did also miss another Imperial faction, Imperial agents who just got their new codex.
But we don't need to talk about them. It's fine.
You ruined the joke. I hate you. We were gonna tell you, Imperial agents.
Next.
Moving on. No, they don't exist. They got a codex out of pity. It's not a great. They're not great for rules, but basically,
I could have had a guard codex, but they said no. Imperial agents first, and no.
Basically, they're we allied this group, this character in. That's what you get for rules. So if you ally an assassin or an inquisitor into any Imperial army, you can. Moving back to Chaos Space Marines. We'll do with the ones that don't exist first. Emperor's Children.
Womp womp.
Sadly don't exist yet, but it was promised for this edition that they would come. I believe it was the next edition.
They told us that they were going to exist at some point in the near future.
Yes.
I hope they do, because
they have been given themselves to the god of pleasure, pain, and excess, which is Slanesh. They're, from what we can assume, they're going to be very fast and hit very hard, probably a little glass cannony. They have their two main figures we're going to look out for them to release are Fulgrim and Noise Marine Squads, or the Cacophony. Fulgrim is their Demon Primarch. He's kind of a snake with 4 arms. His 30k model is... Other than the fact
30k models are nice.
Just, oh my God, how did I miss my own faction? Okay, so we missed my own faction. Leagues of Voton. Space Dwarves, Rockin' Stone is the only reason they exist. They're very small roster, I think, including named character. It's 13 units in total.
But you have beautiful things like this.
3 to 4 characters. Like, beautiful things with tanks. They're very tank and elite based. But everything on the roster does pretty well. I enjoy them. I think they're cool as...
Mm-hmm.
Going back to CSM.
Back to CSM. It's okay.
Yeah, and Fulgrim will be great. Noise Marines, Cacophony. I'm waiting. I'm excited. I'm gonna buy it.
I hope they come out. Like, I want some.
Let's move on to Death Guard.
Plague Marines.
Yes, they gave themselves over to the Plague God of Nurgle. They have their special rule is Contagion. They have this little contagion range that happens. I don't remember what. It's a range that goes around models, and just everything within it gets lower toughness, and they're already pretty high toughness. Their one downside is they're slow, and they don't have the best attacks. They can still hit hard, but it's not like your Nash where you hit hard. They're so tough. So the Death Guard got the toughness, but not as high damage. They can still do a lot of damage. They're tough, they're slow, and their Primarch is Mortarion, who's a Demon Primarch. He's on the battlefield, and he's the only beautiful model.
Yes, Plague Guard. Blood, guts, and blood. Yeah.
1,000 Suns. Now, we went over this in our last one with Camilo.
Space Sorcerers.
Yes, they have gotten Psychic Boys. They have their rituals, which is their main role.
It's I am dust, and now I exist. Now it's your problem that I exist.
Yes, so their main rule is their rituals, which allow them to cast spells and do damage or make something double move, or they're just a lot of fun. Gun. They also have that, but that's not part of the rituals. Their Primarch is Magnus, very big beat stick, very good, and they're pretty good in shooting. They don't have as much melee stuff yet, but we think they're going to come.
We'll get there.
Now, for the final one, World Eaters.
Oh man, I cut my hand. And it's bleeding too. I don't know what to do with this blood. Where did the lights go?
Did someone say blood? Ah! So the rules are very supportive of their melee debauchery. They love melee, and the rules are ritual points and
blood.
blood. So most of their rituals are like, oh, this unit gets 2 more inches to their move, or they get to charge in the same turn that they advanced, or they do more damage in melee. Or my favorite is you have Angrond, which is a quarter of your army. Your opponent finally destroys Angrond, and he does a lot of damage. So if they destroy him, it's a great piece off. If you roll 666s on that ritual dice, which
You
honestly isn't hard to do because you have
if you get
6
luck,
dice.
that's 50% of your dice. They have to roll 6. It's not impossible.
He gets back onto the field, you're just having a good time because there's nothing the opponent can do.
Because he comes back at full health, right? Like it's, oh, I spent a lot of time and effort to kill this thing, and then it just comes back.
I believe he is 16 wounds. So the Angron is the primary, as we're talking about. He's 16 wounds, toughness 11.
Titan equivalent, knight equivalent.
He is knight equivalent because his he does a lot of damage. His main attack is 8 attacks, 2 ups to hits, strength 16, d6 plus 2 damage for every hit that goes.
That is like
Bonkers.
That is tank killing blows. Like
bonkers. And it's minus 4 AP, so it's bonkers.
You want to kill a tank? Send Angron.
They're very fun.
How to describe Angron?
It is just the pipe falling sound. It is that
Angron.
is their entire thing. Yeah, so we've gone through almost every faction. Actually, I think that was every faction after being very uncoordinated and missing a bunch. We got every faction here, Tristan.
We did a pretty decent job.
No, we didn't. We were terrible. We sucked.
We missed a few Space Marine ones, but that's okay.
We got actually most of the Space Marine. I'm not.
No, okay. So that's not.
I know there's probably like a.
There's 1,000 others that we haven't covered.
No, but
like
there's probably a main Legion one that I just completely forgot about and just do not care.
It's okay. If we don't remember it, does it really matter that much?
Exactly. We're only doing the ones that matter.
The ones with living Primarchs.
We did the ones without living Primarchs.
But they live. But I have a Primarch that lives.
Anyways, Tristan, you have any final remarks for us?
I don't think so. Do you?
No, I do not. Thank you so much for joining us on the Arcarius podcast.
And spend more money for GW.
I thought you were going to do your trademark thing.
Oh, well, thanks for listening to the Arcarius podcast. I hope you guys have a wonderful day.
Thank you so much for watching. I honestly love Camilo's in the back because he did, I'm just going to do shrimp. Think of shrimp on the barbie. Thanks for watching the Arcarius podcast.
Thanks for watching the Arcarius podcast.
Thanks for watching. We've done this intro out 3 times. We love you guys. Please do the YouTube pleasantries of liking and subscribing, as well as doing it on Spotify. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful.
Cheers.